but they had extra time, so okay, I do it again. I log in. I'm so sorry, Popo. It's me being a grandma with these things.
Oh, now we are live
him,
now.
like for a week.
I think we are live now. I have the YouTube.
You can see me live?
Yeah, I can see on the YouTube. I opened the YouTube channel, the link. It is. Oh, now we are live now. We are live now.
Okay,
yeah.
I'm very sorry about this late start, because I had before the information that we are not live. So good morning again. Welcome to the Asian German Festival again. I'm very happy to have the filmmaker Popo Fan here as a guest today. He's an old friend. I think we met the first time around 2005 in Beijing for the Queer Film Festival there. First, I would briefly like to introduce him to you, and then he will give us a talk, and afterwards there will be some time for Q&A. You can post questions in the chat, and then we will pick them up and probably reply to it. He studied at the Beijing Film Academy. He's the author of Happy Together, complete record of 100 queer films. And his transnationally screened works include New Beijing, New Marriage, Chinese Closet, Be a Woman, Mama Rainbow, The What China Monologues, and Papa Rainbow. And I think he can be seen as somebody documenting the queer social movement in China, and also reflecting about the related social change. And now he's based in Berlin for a few years, and also documenting developments here in society and in our communities. And he's always working at intersections, especially at the intersection of gender, sexuality, and ethnicity. Recently, he made a video as a comment to anti-Asian racist violence in the context of COVID-19 in Germany or in Berlin, and it's called Lerne Deutsch in meiner Küche, which was also screened on RBB. But I think you also want to tell us more about it personally, Popo, maybe? So enough words from my side, and then I would like you to start your talk, and afterwards we can have a conversation also together with the audience.
Yeah, thank you, Kimiko, and thanks all the team for organizing Asian German Festival. It's a very great opportunity to see more people who care about this topic. And briefly, Kimiko already introduced me, but moreover, when I was so she mentioned my film Mama Rainbow, and I see it as a method for people to be together and have a communication, because it's featuring topics about family issues in China, which is so important in the society when most of LGBT people come out to their parents, and they face a lot of a challenge and even sometimes violence. And I was very proud of my work that from 2012 to 2014, when I meet other people, when I introduce myself, they will say, "Oh, I've seen your film Mama Rainbow," and I show that to my parents. So it helps my progress of coming out. Of course, one film won't change everything, but when those parents who had seen other parents in moving image, and it was very it's played a very important role for them to see, well, other Chinese parents can also accept this, why not me? And but in 2014, I found out that this movie was deleted online, because LGBT films are censored in China. We won't be able to show it in the cinema. So I put it online, and there is still certain space of freedom of speech online. But then I feel I was like a student going back home from school, and was bullied by some bad people. So I had to go walk on the small path, but even that was not okay. So I just decided to sue to file a lawsuit against the censorship department in China, and which had brought me some troubles. And even after a year, I realized most of my screenings are not allowed to do, because I used to do a lot of screenings at university, and also some galleries and cafe. As a actual offline space. But in 2015 and 2016, and almost all of my screenings are cancelled. Then I started to consider what to do, because this I can't do anything, and I decided to move out from Beijing. And I was thinking of in the beginning, think of Shanghai, but suddenly this idea of Berlin pop up. I've been here for a few times and have a lot of friends. So like I met Kimiko from actually Beijing, and we met almost more than 10 years ago. And I remember the first time I came to Berlin, I was sleeping on Kimiko's kitchen, right? And I went to festivals and went meet some friends, and also other friends organized Wen Yun, and he organized a screening. And Moose Kaming is another Chinese artist friend. He had a gallery then. He also organized a screening at their gallery. So I feel there's such an interesting atmosphere and good energy of Berlin. So when a friend of mine sent me an opportunity to do a script research project here, I applied and I got it. But the story was, on one side, I told you about all those political challenges for me, but in the same time, I'm also considering a lot about my film career from artistic perspective. I'm always very interested with making more fictional and experimental films, and also I want to have more freedom in my filmmaking. I don't have to be labeled as a queer filmmaker. I want to make more diverse of topics in my with my camera roll. And so I did. That's why I also did documentaries about the feminism movement, and also made one short documentary about the Sichuan earthquake and the friendship between Chinese and Japanese volunteer. So that was only non-queer and non-gender topic film I made. And so I always I'm very envy of some of my filmmakers. I can see, for example, they are Asian themselves, but they're doing research about films in Middle Eastern region, or they are another friend of mine. He's from Latin American, but he studied about German history, and so I always interested with those transnational and transculture, interculture thing, and trying to get rid of my label. So I was, but after I came here, I realized my identity, the political identity, has been changed in a very interesting way. So in 2017, when I was also a panelist at the Asian Film Festival, organized by Orientation, and it was a great opportunity for me to discover my Asian identity. And I was honestly, I didn't miss that much of China, but one thing I can't really be away from is food. So I always trying to find good food here, which unfortunately I still didn't feel that there is compared with even every time I go to London, I mean, oh my god, the Chinese food in London are so authentic, but in Berlin, not as good at that. So I'm always very jealous of my British friend. And but then I had chance to go to Dongxuan Center, and which is such a big inspiration. I go there and thought, wow, I've been seeing this and that. Oh, and also, so I did, obviously, I had the huge backpack and pack with taking all the ingredients and stuff I can use for cooking. And this is one hand. On the other hand, I did my haircut there because then I realized, okay, all those barbers in city center of Berlin, they are a little bit pricey, and also they don't really know about how to deal with my hair. Because I told them you should be careful because my hairs are very hard, so it might hurt your finger. So the barber was like, "You're kidding me." And then wait. He really see some of the small piece of hair really stuck into his finger and hurted him. So I never know it it could really happen. But when I was staying at Dongxuan Center, and they exactly have all experience cutting hair, treating with my hair, and also what I want, tell them I want the look I want, and so that making me feel, oh, it's interesting. If I'm in Beijing and I go to a Vietnamese market and I won't be able to feel home. This is because we are in another country, and I pick up the Asian identity, and in the same time I see a lot of solidarities between people, different communities with Asian descent, and I made a lot of friends who are from Korea, from Japan, from Philippines, from India. So those are all because of a similar cultural background, and we can eat together. We love spicy food and stuff like that. So that make me feel, oh, it's interesting that I sort of trying to give up identity and label, but I pick up more labels on me, and which I see is very important, that when you are not when your identity is not visible, and your community is not treated fairly, rather than the majority people in the society, it's very important to emphasize that. So I would say, from my 3 years of living in Berlin, and I feel a little bit like being Asian is quite similar with being Asian in Germany. It's quite similar with being queer in China, because you are allowed to exist, but the society doesn't see you. And when I see films and TV from any platform, you don't really see many Asian characters and the Asian protagonist, and moreover, you never see them as the leading actor or actress in the film. That is so rare. So that's also my goal, to do more things and to change it.
Okay, and do you have any concrete projects you're currently working on where these ideas come together or are worked on?
Yeah, so thank you for asking this. And besides the 2 minute short movie I mentioned for RBB, I also have a lot of different ideas. By the way, that 2 minutes also helped me a lot to connect with different people here in the German society, who I got a lot of message from Instagram and from Facebook, and telling me that they appreciate me also for being promoting the visibility and also in a complex way. So I also shot another short movie called Beer 2 years ago, and produced by Anna Xian, also our common friends. And so in that movie you will see I also doubt the position of just the victim and how to say and very binary positions in a racist encounter, and also a lot of things can't even tell is that racist or is this a stereotype or is just what they see you, the society, how the society see you. So I did it in a comedy way, comedian type, and so I want to make joke about it because honestly I find myself if we talk about fetish, the film is talking about fetishizing Asian men in a gay relationship, and honestly, when we reflect our history in China, also we also very often fetishizing other people with other ethnic background. So I did in very funny but complex way, and so this is one of the project. And in the same time, another thing, I'm also a curator. I work for a Beijing Queer Film Festival and also do other stuff for different art space and cinema. So here I had a very great collaboration with Bebug. It's a space in waiting, and now, so this autumn, they're going to move to Alexanderplatz, and so I programmed 5 screenings there last April about of Chinese queer films. So we have been talking about the possibility to do more, to have a more collaboration, and there is 2 encounters was very important for me that. Last year, in February of 2019, I got someone on the street cursed me, saying "fuck China," "I hate China," and at the end of, and I filmed him, and at the end of the video, he showed me his passport. He has a Turkish passport, and so I reported him at the police office, and then the police said he took some drug, and also he saw some videos about how Chinese government treating Chinese Muslim badly, and so that's why when he heard you speaking Chinese, he want to tell you those bad words, and I feel very upset because I tell them, I also disagree with the policy of the Chinese authority doing that. But the police said we can't do anything for this because we don't encourage you to get in touch with him directly either. And I've been thinking why both Chinese and East Asian community and the Middle Eastern community are very marginalized in the society, but in the same time we have so much misunderstanding with each other. Because after I posted about experiments on social media, I also saw a lot of Islamophobia comments under my social media post. So then I started to think what the police can't do, we should do it with our artistic perspective. So we have been thinking about doing screening series on featuring films of Chinese cultural backgrounds, filmmakers, and Middle Eastern, North Africa cultural background filmmakers. And also, again, this year, now because of the COVID situation, I was again faced another encounter on the U-Bahn, and also someone with a migrant background. So this may just only make me feel stronger willing to make this film series happen. And this is also my contribution to the topic of intersectionality. What I want to tell is that when someone just pointed out to you not nicely and have bad words on you, that doesn't represent the whole community, because we still try to see everybody by individual. And what we can do is just communicate, to create more opportunity of communication. And I'm really looking forward to that. Now we are set it on the whole month of October, actually. So if you are interested, please continue following the social media or the website of BBUC. And we're also looking for community partner to help us promote, and perhaps also Orientation also be our community partner and help us repost about it in the Asian community. I promise all the films are very, very interesting to see.
Yeah, no, I mean, what you just mentioned, it's also actually how we work with Orientation to look for solidarities in between communities, and to always look for the opportunity to cooperate on project-based things. So we can definitely be community partner for that.
Thank you. We are like a lively, we confirm this partnership on in a live platform. So.
And I just have also one more question. Since we got a lot of information from people who also experienced racist slurs and other ways of discrimination in public space on the streets or on after the media debate about COVID-19 started. So I also just wanted to ask if you would think that the COVID-19 debate that it changed your view of German society or your position here?
Honestly, I didn't have that high how to say expectation of German society. Before I moved here, I already know it's slightly racist, and also there are people who lack of knowledge, who didn't get educated, and with diversity or of a racial issue. But the only thing I would say I'm disappointed is the media, actually. So think about that cover of Der Spiegel. So when it was out, and I also think it's complex. It's because it's an image, and the image itself could also have different layer, and also I heard the article inside of it was not that bad. So I read one of them as it's still with a lot of information. But after I had all those encounter, and I suddenly realized a lot of people they won't so see this article. They were just judged by the very strong visualized cover, and then from that image, they will say, okay, this virus is made in China, and we can bully any Asian people no matter where they are from, and from our point of view, no matter how vulnerable themselves is. And I started to think that cover actually brought really indirectly or even directly brought us problem. And so that was a big shame. So I have been seeing they are more and more changing, and because after my RBB piece, also interviewed by different medias, and I think it's changing. I just only hope this COVID debate make more awareness of racial issues, and plus Black Lives Matter, and we also bring more intersectionality. And I honestly heard so many stories of because my own encounter, my friend told me their stories. And the worst case is that a friend of mine, she was 8 months pregnant, and she was in the U-Bahn, and there was a group of young, a group of German teenage, and they were calling her Corona, and calling to someone 8 months pregnant. And obviously, because she looks so vulnerable, and she won't be able to fight back, and she won't be able to chase them, and also that when I had that encounter in Budapest tour with my friend, because myself still have to reflect myself as still have a how to say biologically a male body, and I don't look like I can. I don't look that weak, and the gender and age and height, and but I had a female friend with me together with that encounter, and she told me she didn't dare go back to Budapest tour because she feel that area is not safe for her anymore, and she's really afraid she might run into that person again. And if it is later in the night, we don't know what would happen. So I really think German society need to raise this awareness from authority, from authority level, from cultural level, from community level, from grassroots level.
Okay. Yeah, I think that also goes pretty much along with the request Orientation has as a community organization, and which are the things we see now after all the things which happened during this COVID-19 debate. I just would like to come back to another topic. You mentioned that you also have been working on feminist issues, I guess related mostly to China, and I was always curious what led you to this topic. I mean, do you think it's also related to the closeness of the community in Beijing, for example, that inside the queer community, different kind of people work closely together, so you easily come into this situation to support each other, pick each other's topics and so on? Because I would say here, at least in Berlin, I haven't experienced it, that actually so many for example, gay filmmakers or activists would consciously pick up feminist issues. So sorry for the long question, but
no, totally. Yeah, thanks. It's a great question. So I think the answer is very simple because I have a lot of feminism friends. So they keep on bringing me to different events and telling me their challenge. So I think being as a filmmaker or as an artist, the most important thing that don't lock yourself into a certain box, and always try to open your eyes to see different stuff beyond your own gender, beyond your own race, and beyond your what is supposed your age supposed you to do. So like at that time, I have a feminism friend who brought me to the performance of a vagina monologue, and so I learned a lot from the performance itself, and I'm totally interested from filmmakers' point of view, and suggest that if we can make a documentary out of it, then we can even make more people see it, and also let people see what's happening behind the behind the stage. And then we had this idea. So in the beginning, I was positioning myself as a producer because we were trying to find a female director, and but in the end we didn't. And so my and another friend told me, I can be you should be directing it itself, and I can produce it. So we had a great cooperation, and then we did it. The progress was quite challengeable because it's still a lot of even though I would say I'm confident confidently say that I'm quite familiar with the gender topics in China, but still there was a lot to learn for me to learn. And but when we were showing the film and it was really interesting feedback, and still you will see on one side, and a lot of people love this work, and this because it's not only just educational but also sort of entertaining and sort of funny, and there is a lot of when you see those protagonists in my film, they are really very lively and doing their work. But in the same time, there is, you can still see the society has a lot of still a long way to go for society in China to understand more of the gender issues, because even within the queer community, the LGBT community, still a lot of people didn't know there is challengeable for queer women, and being queer in the same time also being a woman, and this is also closely to our topic today about intersectionality.
Okay, now it's already a bit after 12, so I would say if there's people from the audience, they could also post some questions if they like. And so far I can't see any. So I have also one more question. I remember when you were doing research for your movie beer, we also had a talk, and then at that time you said to me something which stuck with me for a long time. You said, so Kimiki, you're really enjoying living in your Berlin bubble. So I wanted to ask you, what do you think are the best suggestions in daily life to actually mentally leave this kind of bubble?
Yeah.
Of course it's random things like stay in touch with different type of people and so on, but do you have something which you practice?
Oh my god, I have one very interesting thing to share. Oh my god, are you ready? So I recently because of COVID, we have some extra time and spend time a lot online. I recently installed so before COVID time, I installed TikTok. And I played more during the quarantine of TikTok, and I find that is almost completely another world, and which is not all. So, for example, I post my my interview on RBB on TikTok, and so when I post it on Instagram and on Facebook, and a lot of people will give me more almost 99% positive feedback. But then when it was on TikTok, I had I got eyes open. I didn't know those supposedly young people mostly, but still very, very narrow-minded. They would some people would say, yeah, it is from China, and you deserve that, and also people mentioned, because Chinese government treating African communities in China so badly, you deserve being treated like this in Germany, and all those comments is hard to digest. But somehow I was on it, and I was looking at those comments, and I feel, well, at least I know that there are people still think it this way, and I still don't have a conclusion that how can we deal with this. But I encourage people to go on those platforms to see there is not only people supporting you all the time, and there is still a lot of people with those misunderstanding, and seeing those also gave me more motivation to do my work. So TikTok.
Actually, it's quite easy to leave the bubble, right?
Yeah, just one cell phone away. So
so I just pick up one question. It's, what do you think about Asian male characters in Western movie productions?
yeah. So I think one thing is we know is some conf star has been famous in Hollywood, and this is almost the major image of Western audience on Asian men, but at the same time they were so asexualized, and I heard that famous story that Jet Li was in a film supposedly have a kissing with a female character in the film, but in the end they had to cut it out because they think it's not a good way to present him. I was so completely shocked, and also beside that, most of the Asian men are just this small stereotype character in movies that's really sad. And also I met some of Asian actors who live in USA or in Europe, and they have been also complaining about lacking of opportunity to get good characters. And but this might so we thought we saw some hope, like when when Crazy Rich Asia became so popular, but it was another kind of stereotype, because we are not that rich. Most of us are not that rich, and we don't have that much money. We don't have that kind of we don't necessarily fall into that kind of cliche of romantic comedy and stories about family, and also very heteronormative. So I think this but but now seems just after 2 years nobody talk about it anymore. And then you see I was invited by Rise and Shine to do as a panelist for the pre-premiere of the Farewell. I felt really touched by that film, and I'm so glad this gets being noticed by the American society, the film industry in the USA. And so I was quite upset when it was not even nominated for any catalog for Oscar. And moreover, it was also a strong female character and female director, and it's also controversial for the gender issue that the Western society, especially in the sexist phenomenon in Hollywood and in the actually globally the film industry.
Okay, thank you for this detailed reply. We have one more question, which is how do you cope with racist comments or prejudice? I mean, I think you've indirectly also talked about it already, how you deal with it, but maybe this is more related to everyday life, I would guess.
I don't. So there's one thing. I don't know if I should encourage people, but I find myself become more vicious after I come to Germany. I didn't realize until every time I go back to China, and my friend will tell me, "Paul, do you realize you become more vicious?" And so they'll also even use the term of bitchy. So I become if someone said anything to me and has some possibility being racist, and I reacted very quickly and fight back. So sometimes I also coincidentally hurt my friend. They try to explain to me, And so, for example, like it's always controversial, and people told me that, oh, you look young. You don't look like you are 35, and I said they think they are saying they're praising me, but when you heard it for 20 times, and I was very serious in telling that friend, it's kind of racist the way you tell me, and so he was so very nervous. He explained me for many times. So, oh, I'm sorry. So if that you feel bad, I didn't really mean that, and so it's also I afterward I said I was halfly joking, so it just forgive me. I listened to too many times of this. So we had a communication afterwards, and we were more clear and talking. Also told him about my feeling, and so it was more clear. So it's not only one sentence, and we made us to have build up more misunderstanding, miscommunication. So I would say the suggestion is to have more communication for those kind of micro racial problem. But of course, if there is people who using slur or have or giving violence, and I think so as I said, I don't trust the police anymore. So I have been carrying something, trying to protect myself. And also I recently, where is my card? Do you know there is a Shaolin temple in Berlin and teaching Kung Fu?
Yeah, I knew.
I just signed up for the Kung Fu class.
Okay, so it's actual self-defense.
Yeah, so it's my fault, a little bit of stereotype, but why not? It's also a way to keep yourself fit and healthy, and also help yourself defend your self-defense. So I still haven't started. I will see how the COVID situation goes, and I will try to take some class from there, so I can really I will be hopefully I will really be able to fight for myself. Don't let them see me being vulnerable.
Yeah, actually, it's in a way quite sad that we've come to the point that we feel we need to be able to defend ourselves physically on the streets, right? But I fully understand. I also have a colleague member who also picked up some martial arts classes, and I've done some in the past. So it's a certain reality. I mean, there's one more question here from someone who calls himself Descendants of the East. He's asking, it seems like no one has addressed the lack of Asian male representation at the Asian German Festival. Why do you think there are not many Asian male activists, and what can we do to improve it?
I see a lot of it's hard. I think it's regarding to representation. It's always very complicated. So. And this question is even more complicated because in our society we have so many places lacking of female representation and female leadership and female being on board for issues, and but now is I want to say I say it's positively of so many female activists and female leader, and they can and with, and more importantly, also with the feminism point of view or with gender awareness. So I see it firstly positively, and secondly, I think the representation is also very complicated. You can't even if you have a 1,000 representation, a 1,000 presentation in this festival, we still can't cover everybody. And I saw that a drama play called 100% Berlin, and they had remade on one by Rimini, and they had one remake version 100% Berlin Reloaded, and I was shocked, and they invited 100 people on the stage, trying to represent as much as what the age range, the gender range, the racial range, and but I still get it. It was a joke for them to talk about representing everybody, because on this planet, and 6 billion people now, right, or even more than that, and even you get to know everybody, and but still not enough. But I can. But on the same time, I've been talking so much about representation today. I do think it is important, and what is really great that you had to point out this, and we had to point out this, and we always have this awareness in our mind that we want to try to make it a more diverse future, and so then there will be and there will be such a future if we keep on pushing it. And I would encourage you, maybe if you know anyone and who could help improve this representation problem, just suggest to organizer, and also it's already great that you brought up this question, and this is also what I am doing. And when I was doing making my film, or curating films, this will never be able to cover all the countries and all the regions. For China, it's also every time you select films, and China is such a big country. You can't you try to you also, it won't work if you try to represent every province, every town. So when I was making for instance, when I was making Mama Rainbow, I tried to include the reason why I didn't have fathers back then was because there were no fathers want to talk with me in front of camera, and but so I talked with my producer. So let's just do interview those mothers this time, and we try to have families with transgender kids, but also we didn't find anyone. So we in the end got six families, and 3 families with lesbian daughter, and 3 families with gay son, and but we have been continuously talking about it. We still have a lot of regrets on this film, but we will try to do it better next time. Then 4 years later, I finished shooting Popo Rainbow, and we interviewed 6 fathers, and who dare to talk about their experience with their dealing with the coming out of their lesbian, gay, and transgender kids. So we got also not only families from big city, but some of them are from very small town and from rural area, and so I see myself as never being, no event can be perfect, but as long as we all have this awareness to improve ourselves, especially on issues of representation.
Okay, thank you. I think it was a really great final words for this slot of the film festival. So thank you very much for joining us and taking the time. And I guess from an Asian perspective, now it's also time to have lunch, right? Coming back to the first issue of food. So there will be a 30 minutes break, and then at 1 o'clock, the festival will continue. So yeah, thank you again for joining, also to the audience, and have a nice Sunday.
Thanks, everybody. Enjoy your Sunday. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.